Good evening, and welcome to the 47th Annual Celebration of Traditional Music here at Berea College. My name is Elizabeth DiSavino. I am the director of the Celebration of Traditional Music, and we are all just so glad that you are joining us here tonight online for this year's celebration. Normally, of course, we have this celebration live in person, and we have workshops all day Friday and Saturday, and dances and jam sessions and song circles and all kinds of things. Obviously, because of COVID, that is prohibited this year. So we are very happy that you are joining us in this online format. The Berea College Celebration of Traditional Music is sponsored in part by a generous grant from the L. Allen Smith Memorial Fund, by the Loyal Jones Appalachian Center, and is supported also by the Berea College Music Department and by members of the Folk Roots Ensemble at Berea, who have helped plan and present and will be doing some introductions for this year's celebration. We are here tonight, obviously at 8 o'clock. We will be back on this very same link tomorrow at 8, and we will be back Sunday at 3 o'clock for the first ever Berea College Traditional Music Ensemble Showcase, which will feature some of the traditional music ensembles here at Berea College. The Berea College Celebration of Traditional Music seeks to present homemade Appalachian music as passed down by people in the region and musicians who play this music. We have an amazing lineup this year, and we're going to get right into it right now.
My name is Allie Ray, and I'm one of the proud members of the Folk Roots Ensemble. I am also a morale officer and co-president of the group. Unfortunately tonight, due to unexpected circumstances, the Gibson family could not make it to perform for us. However, we do have a new person on the lineup. He's a fantastic musician who's chosen to take up the gauntlet on short notice and entertain us and educate us tonight. He plays numerous instruments, including the fiddle, which is my personal favorite, the banjo, and the guitar. Not only can he sing and play, he also writes his own music. His career is spotted with some impressive achievements, including songs being recorded on albums that went on to win Grammys. Insert applause. I have no audience on the other side of this computer screen at the moment, except for you guys, but I can't hear you. So I'm going to insert some crowd noise of my own. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right. I am very honored to have this illustrious guest with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Bob Lucas.
Morning to you. Hey, my name is Bob Lucas, and I'm mighty pleased to be here with you this morning. You may be watching this of the evening, but the sunlight will only betray my words if I do not tell you that I'm here and it's morning. It's a beautiful morning here in Zanesfield, Ohio. And I'm here this morning to play some banjo music for you. Now, I started playing banjo when I was about 10 years old. My brother Jim brought a banjo into the house. Before that, we had a ukulele, which I strummed a lot on. But then we brought a banjo into the house, and you know, it wasn't much of a banjo. It was a tenor to begin with, and we tried for the longest time to sound like Pete Seeger with that thing, but we just couldn't figure it out. Then somebody gave us a clue. My brother Jim went to camp, and he came home with a whole new idea about needing a 5-string banjo. So he actually brought that 5-string banjo into the house. We took it apart, put it back together again, and man, we thought we really had something. I mean, before that, we were playing cigar box instruments and stuff that we just kind of made up, or where we could get our hands on. It had a plastic ukulele. It wasn't much of nothing. But anyway, so that all started when I was about 10 years old. I started learning folk songs and the songs that my family sang. My 3 older brothers and my mom and dad all sang like crazy, sang in church, and my three brothers and my dad had a quartet, which was really a fine quartet, I must say. I'm not bragging. Anybody who ever heard them knew that they would go. They had my brother Jim. He sang tenor. They put him up on a high stool. We started doing that when he was about 6 or 7 years old, teaching him those tenor parts. So it was just about as cute as you could get. Of course, I emulated that. I wanted to be in that group. Of course, that was never going to happen. But anyways, that's making a very long story out of what really happened. Was I got involved with music, and I've been asked to play a little music for you, and I'm just tickled to do so. I'm going to start by playing a tune that I don't know when I started playing. I think sometime around 1969, 1970. I started playing for dances, and I learned to start to play tunes on the banjo to play for dances, and has always been a great joy for me. But of course, being a singer, I always like the ones that had words to them, because it kind of moves the tune along, I think, if you can sing a little bit. So, and I'm going to play for you. This banjo I'm playing is one that I had designed and made for me. I met a guy, Reed Martin, maybe 20 years ago or a little more now. But he had a big old banjo that he had made. I guess he didn't have it made. He collected it. But I always admired it. It was tuned low, as you can tell. This is tuned low, and it didn't have any frets on it. And so this one doesn't have any frets on it. So I got this pot from an old tenor that was given to me, and had my friend Jan Bloom up in Michigan make the neck. And this is what it sounds like. She lays eggs for the railroad man. Sometime 9, sometime 10. That's enough for the railroad man. Say, cluck, old hen. She lays eggs for the railroad man. Sometime 1, sometime 2, sometimes enough for the whole damn crew. Cluck, old hen, cluck and squawk. Ain't laid an egg since way last fall. Cluck, old hen, cluck and squawk. Next time you cack, you'll be in the pot. That's what it sounds like. Once I started playing this big old banjo, it was kind of hard for me to put it down. But I gotta admit, there's some things you can play on it sounds just right, and then you gotta sometimes put it down to play other things. So I thought maybe I'd play this other little banjo I got for you. This little banjo here is really kind of what got me started on the fretless thing. This banjo was made by Rob Caswell, who I met at Common Ground on the Hill. Shady Grove, Shady Grove, my true love. Shady Grove, Shady Grove, my true love. Bound for Shady Grove. Some come here to fiddle and dance, some come here to tarry, some come here to fiddle and dance. I come here to marry Shady Grove, Shady Grove, I know Shady Grove, my true love. Farther up the cherry tree, sweeter grow the cherry. More you hug, kiss that gal, sooner you'll get married. Shady Grove, Shady Grove, my true love, bound for Shady Grove. Good old Shady Grove. Now, you know, there's a lot of versions of that tune, and I've heard it played in modal and major tunings, and I've heard it sung like a slow ballad. That little version right there, of course, somebody along the line added another 16 bars so you could dance to it. That's pretty cool, I think. Somebody told me it's a West Virginia version, but you know, a lot of that stuff you hear, you collect the stuff, and you think you're really onto something, and then along comes somebody who supposedly really knows what's going on, and they tell you different. But I heard that it was a West Virginia version, and you know, there's a lot of great West Virginia tunes that ascribe to that modal scale. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it did come from West Virginia. I sure do like that tune. Here's my other banjo that I've been having for a while. This is a pretty fancy banjo. There's no doubt about it. It's I think they call it a presentation banjo, but it says on the back Deluxe. It was made by Vega. I don't exactly know when, but the patent on it is early 1900s. So I dearly do love this banjo, and it's been a good pal. Shown me a lot. That's the thing about banjos, or any instrument. they're all just a little different. They all have a little different harmonic that they thrust forward for you to hold on to and tweak your ears. I thought I'd sing a little bit of a lullaby now. Now this lullaby, this little song, I've heard it sung a few different ways too. I learned it back when I was 14 or something. A guy named Howie Mitchell. Maybe some of you folks know of him. Great musicianer and collector of songs. And I had a folk group back in those days when I was 14 called the Young'uns, and we worked out a big old fancy arrangement of this little tune. I cannot purvey it to you as such today, but I will sing and play it for you a little bit. It's called Kitty Alone. Now in this song it talks about a cat spinning toe. And it took me a very long time. I think I started singing when I was a teenager. I think I was in my 20s before somebody gave me a clue as to what toe was. And of course it's ridiculous when you figure it out, because toe is what's left after they beat flax, and it's the what's left over. It's bright yellow, and that's why they call young children with blonde hair, sometimes they call them towheads. But anyways, saw a cat spinning toe. Kind of a goofy idea, but this is a goofy little song. Saw a crow flying low, kitty alone, kitty alone. Saw a crow flying low, kitty alone alive. Saw a crow flying low, and a cat spinning toe, kitty alone alive. Rock-a-my-rye-ree. Way up yonder above the sun, kitty alone, kitty alone. Way up yonder above the sun, kitty alone alive. Way up yonder above the sun, eagle flies when his work is done, kitty alone alive. Rock-a-my-rye-ree. Way up yonder above the moon, kitty alone, kitty alone. Way up yonder above the moon, kitty alone alive. Way up yonder above the moon, bluebird lives in a silver spoon, kitty alone alive. Rock-a-my-rye-ree. Big old owl in a tree, kitty alone, kitty alone. Big old owl in a tree, kitty alone alive. Big old owl in a tree, just as sleepy as he can be, kitty alone alive. Rock-a-my-rye-ree. Saw a crow flying low, kitty alone, kitty alone. Saw a crow flying low, kitty alone alive. Saw a crow flying low, cat, spinning toe, kitty alone alive, rock-a-marie. Yeah, spinning toe. Well, looks to me like I got time for just about one more song. And let's see, I think I'll get this big boy out. I'll play a song here that I learned. I think this might have been the very first folk song I ever learned. And my grandchildren love it. They still love it. They like to hear me sing it. Well, the fox went out on a chase one night, and he prayed for the moon to give him light. He had many miles to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh, many miles to go that night before he reached the town. Oh. And when he came to the big old pen, where the ducks and the geese were kept therein, said, a couple of you gonna grease my chin before I leave this town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh, a couple of you gonna grease my chin before I leave this town. Oh. So he slung the duck up over his back, and he didn't well, he slung the duck up over his back, and didn't mind the quack, quack, quack. Whoa, didn't mind the quack, quack, quack of the legs all dangling down. Oh, down, oh, down, oh, didn't mind the quack, quack, quack of the legs all dangling down. Oh, Mother Flip Flapper jumped out of bed, and out of the window struck her head, crying, John, John, the goose is gone, the fox is on the town. Oh, down, oh, down, oh, John, John, the goose is gone, the fox is on the town. Oh, Johnny ran to the top of the hill, and he blew his whistle loud and shrill. Oh, fox said, I better feel my cows and be on my trail. Oh, trail, oh, trail, oh, fox said, I better feel my cows and be on my trail. Well, he brought the gray goose home to his wife, and she cut him up with a carving knife. Well, never had such a meal in their life, the little one chewing on the bones. Oh, bones, oh, bones, oh, never had such a meal in their life, the little one chewing on the bones. And when he left out of his home den, oh, there sat the little ones 8, 9, 10, saying, Daddy, Daddy, better go back again, it must be a mighty fine town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh, Daddy, Daddy, better go back again, it must be a mighty fine town. Well, the fox went out on a chase one night, and prayed for the moon to give him light. He didn't mind dead down. Yeah. Well, this has been fun. Been fun. I guess if you want perfect, you're going to have to go to the symphony. But right there, that's what you get from old Dad. Love you. I turned this thing right off.
We've now arrived at the part of the evening that includes the presentation of the celebration of traditional music Lifetime Achievement Award. This year's recipient is Alice Gerrard, and Alice is here with us from her home. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Liz. So nice to see you.
It's great to have you with us. Well, Alice Gerrard. Alice Gerrard is a West Virginia icon. If you have a dictionary or an encyclopedia and you look up West Virginia and Alice's picture is not right next to the words West Virginia, then you got to get yourself a new encyclopedia or dictionary because it belongs there. Alice was actually born in Seattle, Washington, and she was exposed to folk music in college. I always hate when they say that. It sounds like a disease, but if it is a disease, it's a good one, and it's an infectious one, and it proved to be so in Alice's case. She was part of the Washington, D.C. bluegrass and old-time scene in the 1950s and 60s. That was a scene that included the New Lost City Ramblers with Mike Seeger, her future husband, and John Cohen, and other really important and influential people in the burgeoning reawakening of the old-time genre. In 1987, Alice founded the Old Time Herald, which is actually a glossy magazine that posts the going-ons in the old-time and the bluegrass community and kind of keeps people connected and informed. Alice's career spans a period of over 50 years. I'm going to say that again. Alice Gerrard's career spans a period of over 50 years. That career has included innumerable concerts and festivals, over 20 recordings, a Grammy nomination, and collaborations with such luminaries of Appalachian music as Tommy Jarrell, Luther Davis, and Mike Seeger. Her collaboration with Hazel Dickens in the 1960s and 70s, which includes 4 albums, and began to break down some of the entrenched stereotypes regarding gender in the old-time and bluegrass community. That collaboration is legendary, and it continues to influence musicians down to this day. If you sing and play old-time music, you have been influenced by Alice Gerrard. And if you are a woman and you play and sing old-time music, the way has been cleared for you by women like Alice Gerrard. On the website for the award-winning movie about her life, You Gave Me a Song, there's a little bit of writing that refers to Alice's compelling, eclectic songwriting, her powerful, hard-edged vocals, and her instrumental mastery on rhythm guitar, banjo, and old-time fiddle. The album Sing Me Back Home, the D.C. tapes 1965 to 1969 on Free Dirt Records, was released recently. It's basically basement tapes of Alice and Hazel rehearsing. And it is so much fun to be a fly on the wall listening to them work together. Alice, besides all of that, is a song and tune collector. And she has a collection of more than 700 audio recordings and supporting documentation of live music performances and interviews with traditional and country music artists. It spans a period of about 40 years, and it's housed at the Southern Folklife Collection at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. In 2017, Alice was inducted into the International Bluegrass Music Association Hall of Fame along with Hazel Dickens. Among her other honors are the IBMA Distinguished Achievement Award, the North Carolina Folklore Society Tommy Jarrell Award, an Indie Award, and, as of tonight, the Berea College Celebration of Traditional Music Lifetime Achievement Award. Alice, on behalf of CTM, we honor you with this award, and we thank you for your lifetime of service to traditional music. And I would like to present, on behalf of CTM, 2 things.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry, we had a little bit of a delay. Please go ahead.
I was going to thank you, but I see that you're going to do something else here, so I'll just wait.
Okay.
See.
All right. Well, we have 2 things for you. The first is this beautiful plaque, which reads, Celebration of Traditional Music presented to Alice Gerrard for a lifetime of service to traditional music, October 16th, 2020.
Oh, that's nice.
And we wanted to give you something else. We wanted to give you something that we thought maybe you didn't have and that you might really like, and that spoke both of traditional music and Berea. So we went to our local master luthier, Warren May, who has been making beautiful instruments for over 40 years. And we have gotten for you this beautiful...
Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous.
It is a black walnut dulcimer. It has hummingbird sound holes.
Oh
Y'all
man.
can see that. And it has little flowers engraved on the fretboard.
Oh,
I'll just give you a real quick, just so you get to hear what it sounds like.
yeah, please do.
Let's see if I can do this. It's got a beautiful tone. It's got a little bit of a snap for up tunes if you do those. Let's see. So it's a
Oh,
lovely
yeah.
instrument, great action, beautiful craftsmanship, and we present this and the plaque to you in thanks for all the years of amazing music and inspiration. So thank you, Alice Gerrard.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so thrilled by this. A plaque is one thing, a musical instrument is a whole another level of giving. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much to you and the college and all you folks out there who are watching this. I, my heart is full. It's a wonderful day, and I appreciate your honoring me to this extent. It's just amazing. Thank you, Liz. And thank you, Berea. I just have such a years ago I went there and played at this celebration of traditional music when we could be together in person, give each other some hugs and sit close together when you're playing and stuff like that. And with Matoki Slaughter, she was a banjo player from Pulaski, Virginia, and we were invited to come to this. I forget which year. Sam Gleaves would know. And so, and Berea's, it's known for its dedication to traditional music, and I so appreciate the work that they do too. And thank you again for this most amazing honor.
Well, thank you for the beauty that you have lent all our lives.
You bet. And I'm going to continue. I'm not done.
That's great to hear. We look forward to many wonderful things from you, and
My,
maybe,
li-
maybe some of them will be on this very dulcimer.
my lifetime is not over. I'm going to have to learn to play that thing. I mean, I've messed with it a little bit, but I haven't seriously played it. So now, one more thing. So
Well,
many things to do, so little time,
amen.
but we'll make time.
Well, thank
So
you, Alice. Thank you to our 2020 Lifetime Award recipient, Alice Gerrard.
thank you, all of you good folks out there, and stay safe, please. I'll see you down the road, Liz.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Well, I have told you a whole mess about Alice Gerrard. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her musical partner for the evening, Kay Justice. Kay Justice lives in, not West Virginia, but the western part of Virginia, up in the high mountains. And she grew up learning music in the traditional way, learning from members of her family. She really began getting interested in this music in the 1960s, as did so many other people. And she started looking for the songs and versions of songs that nobody knew, ballad versions that had not been written down or recorded, tunes. She started playing old-time banjo. And she did a good deal of singing and touring with Ginny Hawker in the 1980s. And tonight, we have not just one giant of Appalachian music, Alice Gerrard, But we have her together with Kay Justice. And I'm not sure how any stage could be big enough to hold that much greatness. But we have them here for you tonight. So without further ado, I present to you Alice Gerrard and Kay Justice.
Hello out there, everybody. I assume you're out there somewhere. In COVID times, we're so happy to be part of the Berea celebration of traditional music. Hey, I got it out. It was a mouthful.
You did. That was quite lovely.
And we're happy to be playing a short couple of sets for you at this time. And I'm going to introduce, on my left here is Kay Justice from Wytheville, Virginia. We've done a lot of singing together, and we're old friends. And on my right, the same, an old friend of mine, Gail Gillespie from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And a wonderful banjo player and musician, general musician, singer. We've gotten together a bunch and played, so I thought it would be nice to ask them to guest with me on this performance. So welcome to the Berea celebration. We're happy to be here. Keep your masks on if you're out and about with other people. The first tune that we're going to do is one that we learned from a woman by the name of Matoki Slaughter. She was from Pulaski, Virginia, and we chose to do this first because Matoki and I were at Berea back, I don't remember exactly when, way back in the early, 2000. I don't remember when it was.
In the 90s, I
I'll have to ask Sam Gleaves.
Sam would know.
He would. And so I thought it would be fun to bring a picture of Matoki playing her banjo. So here it is. This is Matoki Slaughter from Pulaski, Virginia. It's a photograph that I took back in 1986 or 5 or somewhere back there. And this tune is one of hers that she called Georgie. Some people call it What'll I Do with the Baby-O. She called it Georgie. Giorgio. Thanks, Joe. I forgot to introduce Joe. Back here on bass is Joe DeJarnett. Nobody. He has a recording studio, and he's doubling on sound and playing bass occasionally on a tune or two.
Both things.
Yes, he's a good multitasker. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to do We're going to do a song now that I learned from the great North Carolina fiddler by the name of Tommy Gerald from around Toast. There was a little community called Toast, North Carolina. And I just thought you'd like to see a picture of Tommy. I'm sure a lot of you know what he looks like, but this is Tommy Gerald making pancakes in his kitchen. He made sourdough pancakes, and he'd let the dough rise in a bowl, and inevitably it would
Come
over the top and drip all over the floor. But the pancakes were so good. Tommy Gerald. And this is a gospel song that he used to sing and play called When Sorrows Encompass Me Around.
And
Oh, yes. And also his version of Cumberland Gap, although he didn't do it in this tuning. So we'll follow the Sorrows with just a little bit of Cumberland Gap. Oh, that's right. You're starting it out, Gail. Yay! Cumberland Gap. Me and my wife's Pat, took a little trip on the Cumberland Gap. Okay, so let's see. I didn't take this picture, but for those of you who have never seen Lily Mae Ledford, this was Lily Mae Ledford. She was a member of the Coon Creek Girls. They were from Kentucky, most of them. And she was a wonderful, wonderful singer and banjo player and fiddler. So this is a tune called
I Have No Mother Now.
I Have No Mother Now.
I hear the low wind sweeping through every bush and tree, where my dear mother's sleeping away from home and me. Cold in the grave she's lying, and sorrow shapes my brow. She's gone from me to heaven. I have no mother now. I see the pale moon shining on mother's white tombstone, with roses o'er it twining. They're just like me alone. They're just like me weeping, and sorrow shapes my brow. She's gone from me to heaven. I have no mother now. Sad was the hour of parting, in a voice so low and sweet. She said, loved ones, I'm dying. We must in heaven meet. Oh yes, we'll meet, dear mother, on that eternal shore, and dwell at home forever, where parting comes no more. Oh yes, we'll meet, dear mother, on that eternal shore, and dwell at home forever, where parting comes no more.
Hey, Kay, I love that song.
Thank you.
And Kay and I are going to do a song now that was written by a woman from Texas, a woman by the name of Leona Williams, great songwriter, and she and a great singer too. Written a lot of good songs. This is one called "The More I See of These Cowboys," and all of you guys out there, if you we're going to sing the chorus twice at the end, so if you want to just sing along with us, but by that time you should know it, and just shout out to the world. The more I see of these cowboys. Ready, Kay?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
We can just do that again. It's okay.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I grew up in the great state of Texas. I've seen boots and hats all my life. If I'd only listened to Mama, I'd have been some nice gentleman's wife. I've heard all the songs about the cowboys, and I don't think that they'll ever change. I've been tied up and tied down with rednecks, and I don't feel at home on the range.
3 times I married a wrangler, and 3 times I got a divorce. And the more I see of these cowboys, the more I think of their horse.
That one. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. I've been down to Billy Bob's, Texas, and I've danced to some big cowboy bands. I've had my toes stepped on at Gillies, and I've heard all the bull I can stand.
3 times I married a wrangler, and 3 times I got a divorce. And the more I see of these cowboys, the more I think of their horse. 3 times I married a wrangler, and 3 times I got a divorce. And the more I see of these cowboys, the more I think of their horse.
Take it home, Kay. Woo. Oh yeah. Woo. Great. We thought for sure we'd have to do that.
We
anyway.
thought we'd have to do that one, yeah. I guess practice does help.
So we've enjoyed playing for you all, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all stay safe. Wear your masks. Don't forget to vote. Very important.
Absolutely.
This is a song I wrote after a conversation with the wonderful African-American guitarist and banjo player Elizabeth Cotton, who grew up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where Gail lives. And she said something that really kind of stayed with me. She said that when she died, she did not want to be buried in the ground. She didn't like that idea. She wanted to be laid out on a river and go floating down the river and have all her friends come out and stand on the bank and wave at her as she went by. And I thought that was such a beautiful image. And I wrote a song that Liz actually requested that I do, so I'm going to do that now, and this will be our last number in this set. Thank you, Gail, for playing with us. And Kay and Joe DeJarnett over here on the bass, thank you so much. This is called the Sweet South Anna River. On the sweet South Anna River, where the leafy waters flow, she whiled away her childhood days in the sweet long ago. Her voice echoes down the river from the distant shores of home. Remember me, I was a queen, don't you cry when I'm gone. And let the river
won't you sing to me as I take my leave? You're gonna miss me all the time. When my life on earth is ended and the music fades away, don't lay me down in the cold dark ground in some lonesome old grave on the sweet south end of river where soft breezes fan the air. Just lay me down in a silvery gown, wildflowers in my hair, and let the river carry me on past the redbud and the pine. And won't you sing to me as I take my leave? You're gonna miss me all the time. Along the banks of the sweet South Anna, as far as eyes can see, as I pass by, old friends of mine will wave goodbye to me. Then goodbye, my sweet South Anna. Lord, there's nothing can compare. Remember me, I was a queen, wildflowers in my hair, and let the river carry me on past the redbud and the pine. And won't you sing to me as I take my leave? You're gonna miss me all the time. Remember me, I was a queen. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Thank you, folks, for listening to us. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe, everyone, and vote. Bye.
I've often thought that the main question when it comes to music is, do you want to be amazed by what is fake, or do you want to be moved by what is real? Personally, I would rather be moved, and I think few things have the emotional power of stories. They allow me for a brief moment to step out of my own world and into the complexities of someone else's, and to come back with renewed perspective and appreciation for my own. Shelia Arnold, our next performer, has been telling stories since she was merely 8 years old, and for the last 17 years has been traveling around the country doing historical character presentations and Christian monologues and telling whatever else she can find to tell. She brings history to the present through storytelling and music. Without any further ado, Miss Shelia.
When Sarah was working in the field that morning, she couldn't keep her mind on the tobacco plants that she was looking up and down on, making sure that that little tobacco worm wasn't found. If you found a tobacco worm on the tobacco leaves, well, Lord knows that whole plant might be worthless. And being worthless meant you weren't worth much in the work you did, which meant you could be sold, which meant, and as her mind began to set on those thoughts, the tears began to come from deep inside of her because that had not happened like that. They had worked hard. The man she loved, the one she called husband, the father of her child, had been taken away the night before. She only heard him as he yelled out her name. In a wagon he was chained, and she couldn't run fast enough to just one last touch. The prices for the tobacco had been good. There had been nothing wrong. But now he was gone, and the sadness set deep inside of her. The sadness must have run through her body because her baby began to cry. She stopped a moment, pulled that baby around from tied on the back of her, held on to that baby, and nestled the baby, let her drink from her breast for a while, and when the baby quieted, put the baby back on her back and tied it back around. And then she began to look up and down again, thinking about the plants, making sure you didn't find that worm, making sure that all was well, making sure that you were cared for, that you could care for the ones you love. And that's when it began. She thought about the one she loved. She thought about the one she missed, the fact that her child would not have a father around, just like it had been for her. And that sadness must have welled up inside of her again because the baby began to cry again. But this time the overseer started coming over. On his horse he was. "Sarah," he called out loud. "Get back to work now and quiet that baby down." She brought the baby around and she tried to feed the baby, but the baby wouldn't eat. She tried to comfort the baby. "Shh, shh, shh." But the baby only quieted till it was a whimper. But it was enough. "Sarah!" She quickly put the baby back on her back and tied the baby back around. And this time as she went and looked at that tobacco plant, she was overcome with a sadness from the depth of her heart. She began to cry. And she dropped to the ground onto her knees and her hands down on her knees. And she stood there just sobbing for a minute. She wouldn't have been if she had seen what the overseer did, took the whip off from around the saddle of the horse and then took that whip back and then put that whip down across her back. The scream from that child burst through all of the field, and everyone stopped what they were doing, but they didn't look up because they were too afraid that the overseer would see them. Oh, she pulled her baby back around and held her and just rocked her, and then it was her and the baby, both rocking and crying and crying and rocking. "Sarah," I said, "get up." And he took the whip and he pulled it back again. But before it could come down, in front of Sarah moved Toby. Toby was gray-haired. He had wrinkles in every place on his face, and his hands were moved in such a position they almost didn't look like they would work. He was hunched over. He had come a long time ago from Africa. He remembered the old ways. It had been a long time. But he stood between Sarah and the overseer, and he turned to the overseer and he said, "No more. No more. Move out of my way. Move out of my way. Move out of my way, Toby, now. No more." And he knelt down, Toby did, down to Sarah, who was rocking, and the sobs were such that they were even silent now, but just racking her body. and he whispered into her ear. And as she heard the words, something shifted. But it was like a reminder, something reminding her of something from long, long ago, something that should help her. And he whispered again, and her countenance changed. A small smile crawled on her face. She stood up, she tied her baby on her back. The overseer was pleased and wrapped the whip up and put it back on the saddle. And then he missed that part when she stood up straight. And then suddenly she was on her tippy toes. And suddenly her arms rose. And as her arms rose, they rose up high until she looked like she had wings. And her feet went up off the air. And that's when the overseer saw her lift up into the air, her baby on her back, and laughter coming from the baby's mouth. And she flew. Like a blackbird. She dipped and flew, and everyone stopped what they were doing to see her go. The overseer went after her too, calling her down. Come down here, come down here. Didn't I tell you? He took off his whip. Come down here, but he couldn't get to her. And they watched as she flew away. Then the overseer came back. He came back to Toby. Toby, this be your doing. No, more. And Toby turned. And as he turned, he spoke loud. And everyone who had returned back to their work, afraid to look at the overseer, stood up. Something about those words, something that reminded him, and he shuddered it again. And this time, they dropped whatever they had in their hands. Their backs got straight, and they remembered. They remembered the stories, that many of them had come from Africa, that there they had wings, there they could fly, and there they lost their wings in the bellies of ships that pulled them close together and chained them and hurt them and killed them until they forgot. Until Toby said, remember. And they did. And suddenly, they began to reach out for one another. And it seemed as if their arms could stretch longer than they ever imagined. And then they dropped their hands, and suddenly as one, they rose up into the air. And they went up and over. And they went over and over all of the tobacco plants. The overseer came after him. Get down here, get down here, get down here. But it was like a beautiful set of crows flying through the air together. Until they were gone. And the overseer came back. He came back to Toby. This be your doing, Toby. And he pulled out his revolver and he pointed that revolver straight at Toby. But Toby, his back straightened. It seemed the lines began to leave his face. His hands, they were strong and not crooked. And he looked at the overseer and said, no more. And up he went. He went straight up, twirling around in the sky. And then he flew. I know this story is true because when they flew, When they flew over many other plantations. They flew over many farms. They flew over houses where women were in the backyards. They were there cooking and washing, cleaning. And each one of those heads whose ancestors came from long ago watched as they flew. And inside of them churned a desire to fly away as well. And that desire to fly, to be free, well, they passed it down to their children, who passed it down to their children, who passed it down to their children, who passed it to me. And I pass it to you with the words, remember who you were and be that again. One fine morning, when this world is done, I'll fly away to a home over on the other shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. This story is one I enjoy. It's an old story told in lots and lots of places. You might recognize it. It's told in a whole different way, but this is the story of Pat Pat and the Feathers. Now, Pat Pat was 16 years old, but she was the last of 8 children. And she was the child that came as the surprise. You see, it was 10 years since the last one had been born. And so by the time that she was even 8 years old, her brothers and sisters had married, military, or just plain moved. Her mama was the one that really raised Pat Pat. And when her father went off when she was about 4 years old, well, her mama was a hardened mountain woman. She worked hard up there and did all the work she could. And, well, truth be, everybody kind of raised Pat Pat. Pat Pat sat under everybody's feet, other grown folks' feet. She knew how to listen and not talk, act like she wasn't there. But she also learned grown folk ways. She learned how folk talk about one another. And that became a part of her because it's all she saw. Now, her mama was not one to go around saying nothing to nobody or scandalizing nobody's name. That wasn't the kind of woman she was, but too often Pat Pat was left with others that did that. So by the time she was 16, it wasn't nothing for her to speak about somebody. Tell the business she done heard here and tell it there and say, bless my heart, don't share it with nobody. It wasn't nothing for her to call a woman out her name, as they say, and say all kinds of wrong about her. And then when she heard that it wasn't true, well, she never did say she was sorry. Would always say, probably was true. Somebody just said something different. And Lord knows, don't let her think that a man was shiftless or lazy or just downright no good. She'd spread that all around to that man when he get out of town. That's the way Pat Pat was. And it got worse and worse, year to year to year. Couldn't seem like she could stop that tongue. You know, sometimes the tongue has its own bit of fire inside of it. But Pat Pat didn't recognize that. She had grown to be a nice, tall woman, and she could work real hard. She did. But she liked to talk all the time, too. She'd talk, and no matter if she was out in the hogs or the pigs or working with the geese, she was out there talking all the time. She would tell them if she didn't have nobody else around her, everything that somebody was doing. And don't let nobody come around. Well, she'd give them an earful of all the things wrong with all the people and all about. Well, when she went and put out something about the pastor's wife, well, that didn't go well. She said that the pastor's wife had been sneaking behind the church and taking a little nip before church and afterwards, and sometimes seen smoking a cigarette. Well, it wasn't true, but she passed it on and on and on, and wouldn't give it no rest until finally the pastor came and talked to Pat's mama. Annabelle, you got to do something about that child. Her mouth is running, it's going to run my wife away. And my wife ain't never done none of that. And ain't never had no reason to have nobody speak unkindly about her. You got to do something about that child. Annabelle realized that she had no choice. As tired as she was going to have to make sure Pat knew what was right. When Pat came in that afternoon, coming in from the schoolhouse, her mama said, Pat, I need you to go outside and go get some feathers from the goose because I need to fill up a pillowcase. She didn't question her mama. She just went on outside and she got the goose and she started telling the goose everything, told the goose all about what the big boys had done to all the girls and what the girls had done to all the boys and what the teachers had done and what the head mistress had done. Lord knows she talked to that goose. And Annabelle really had never paid attention to the child, but now she did, and she was mortified. When she had finished collecting enough for that pillowcase, it was near the evening. And they went and ate and went to bed. And the next morning, it wasn't no school day, so Annabelle said, give me that pillowcase of feathers, child, and come on outside with me. And outside they went. Child, I got a special thing I need you to do today. All right, Mama. And with that, Annabelle turned over that bag of pillowcase of feathers and threw them all around. Pat's eyes grew. Mama, you done lost your mind. What in the world? It took me nearly 3 hours to pick all that. Well, now what I need you to do is I need you to pick it all up and put it back in there. I can't do that, Mama girl. You got all day. And don't come in this house till you finish. Well, Lord knows, nighttime was a-coming on. The child hadn't eaten all day, couldn't barely get but some water out the well, and she was exhausted. Near to when the sun was coming down, she went to her mama, tears in her eyes, and said, Mama, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And Mama looked at her and said, you know, your tongue and what you pour out of it is like feathers thrown up in the air. What you throw out, you can't pick all of it up. Or you might get some of it. You might even get most of it. But there'll be little droppings all around you that you'll never pick up. Pat leaned back. She turned around and looked at how there were still so many feathers on the ground. She understood. And from that moment on, Pat's tongue was filled with love, filled with joy, filled with peace, because she learned every time she saw a stray feather going around, she remembered, can't go around throwing things out that you can't pull back in. Well, you think that's a sister? No, no. Do you think that's a sister? No, no. Do you think that's a sister? No, no. Not if she scandalize your name. Thanks so much for letting me come to you today.
Hello all, my name is Sam Hatch. I'm a senior agriculture major here at Berea College. Now Guy Davis is from New York City, but he grew up hearing about life in the South from his grandparents, which is why he sings and writes like many of the blues greats from the Mississippi Delta. He's performed everywhere from the Arctic to the tropics, playing concerts in the Galapagos Islands and for the Queen of Denmark. This is why he's known as the ambassador of the blues. Not only is he an astounding musician, but he is also an all-around Renaissance man. Guy has acted in multiple Broadway productions in addition to films and TV, and he's also taught doing residency programs at places like the Lincoln Center Institute and the Kennedy Center. Now, I met Guy 2 summers ago in Maryland at a wonderful place called Common Ground on the Hill. He was teaching classes on the blues, and I was lucky enough to get into them. In fact, I was so lucky that I was the only person who was signed up for his harmonica class. He revived a passion for the blues that I had not felt since high school when I first heard Sonny Terry and Brownie McGhee. Folks, it's my greatest pleasure to introduce to you the blues legend, Guy Davis.
Hello, all you students out there at Berea College in Kentucky. Hello, Liza DiSavino. This is Guy Davis, and I'm getting ready to present a concert in 2 parts. The first song that I would like to start out playing for you folks is called Taking Just a Little Bit of Time. I wrote this a few years ago, and I hope that you enjoy it. And you can help me by singing along at home or wherever you are. All the words are, you have to remember, are taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. Spend time in the country, city ain't for me. Put down my phone, go out alone, and I let my spirit be. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. I like to go by the river, sit on the banks all day. With a pole and a line, nothing on my mind, I can hear what the catfish say. Here's what they say: I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. Help me out. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. I like to take my shoes off, go barefoot on the ground. I take a gander at Little Salamander and I watch him getting around. Here you go. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. Well, I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. Play it for me. My banjo and walk the railroad track. I walk all day for miles and miles. I don't care when I get back. I'm taking just a little bit of, taking just a little bit of time. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. I keep whiskey in my pocket. Sometimes I make it gin. Sometimes I tote a keg of beer. It depends what mood I'm in. Help me out now. I'm taking just a little bit of, taking just a little bit of time. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. Taking just a little bit of time. In the city, folks are in a hurry, and I gotta get out their way. In the country, I go wandering. I won't see a soul all day. I'm taking just a little bit of time, baby. take just a little bit. Take just a little bit of time. I'ma take just a little bit of time, baby. Take just a little bit of time. Taking just a little bit of time. I first met Liza DiSavino working at Common Ground on the Hill in Westminster, Maryland. At McDaniel College, we were teaching at a summer camp, teaching music, and some very socially conscious people she was amongst. And I urge each and every one of you to be in contact with her about that place and about other establishments where people can learn to be of service and of help. Now we care about each other. I'm going to do a song now by a fellow named Reverend Robert Wilkins. The song is called That's No Way to Get Along. This song was recorded back in the 1920s. And about 1960, a group called the Rolling Stones heard it, and they recorded it under the name Prodigal Son. Now, Reverend Wilkins, not wishing to be yet another American Negro dispossessed of his own music, decided to re-record his own song under the name Prodigal Son. So when the Rolling Stones made money, Reverend Wilkins made money. There's a line in this song talks about low-down women. I just want you to know that I look up to low-down women. Because if it wasn't for low-down women, I wouldn't have a career, you see. That's no way to get along. take me away from here. Some train to come along, take me away from. Some train to come along, take me away from here. And that's no way for me to get along. Take it home, put it to bed. That's no way to get along. Reverend Robert Wilkins. I'm not sure what they specialize in at Berea College. I don't know if there are any guitar classes, but if there are folks who want to learn how to play guitar, I'm sure you have resources when you look up instructors on the internet. But again, if you're in touch with Liza Di Savino and you're able to travel, you know, next time we're all able to travel, and you want to find out about this place called Common Ground on the Hill, talk to her. Ask her about that. I think it'd be worthwhile. I'm getting ready to do a song now. I guess it's a medley, they would call it. 2 authors, 3 different songs. It starts out with Baby Please Don't Go by Big Joe Williams. And it sort of migrates over into some John Lee Hooker songs. So you'll forgive me while I get my sister's retainer organized here. This is something, you know, she hated this thing because she had to wear it, you know, to keep that hardware in her mouth. And she couldn't sleep in it. She couldn't stay awake in it. So I did her a favor. I took it. Now I got me a harmonica holder and my sister got buck teeth. What you think of that? All right. Let's get me a guitar and get this capo set up where it needs to be. And just in case anybody's wondering, I would much rather be there in person doing this show because I like people. I like being with them. I like telling stories to them and, you know, looking at them eye to eye. That's a good thing. Way down there, they got me I like the way you walk. Got my eyes on you. I like the way you talk. When you talk that baby talk. Coochie, 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 coochie. I like the way you talk. I like the way you talk. I got my eyes on you. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna shoot you right down. Knock you off your feet. I put you in my house. I make you cook my bread. I'll take you to my bed. Love you all night long. Love you all night long. Howa, 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 howa. Howa, 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 howa. Howa, 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 howa. Boom, 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 boom. Baby, please don't go. Oh, baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't you go back to New Orleans. You know I love you so. 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 Thank you all very much. Baby, please don't go. And that kind of migrated into, I like the way, I got my eyes on you, and then of course, boom, boom. Never got to meet John Lee Hooker, but I did get to play in his club in San Francisco a short time before he died. That was back a number of years ago. Going to take off these finger picks for a moment and also take off this retainer. I'm going to wind up our first set with a harmonica tune, a piece. The piece is called Long Gone Riley Brown. It's a combination of a song called Riley Walked the Water and Long Gone Lost John. It's a bunch of tunes. I kind of stole them and threaded them together and stuck some of my own stuff in there, how we did it. But I'm going to need your help on this. When I say, he's long gone, I need you to repeat that after me, because I do it twice. He's long gone. Then I say, like a turkey through the cone, you repeat that. With a long clothes on, you repeat that. He's long gone. And I do that twice. So let's see what we come up with here. Gonna tell you the story about Riley Brown. He was a moonshine maker from outside town. Sheriff went to get him and he drawed his gun. That's when Riley began to run. He long gone, he long gone, like a turkey through the cone, with his long clothes on. He's long gone, he's long gone. He had a special pair of shoes that he kept in the sack, had a heel in the front and a heel in the back. Riley took off when he heard the hounds coming, couldn't tell which way Riley was running. He long gone, like a turkey through the cone, with his long clothes on. He's long gone, he's long gone. Ought to seen O'Reilly, show could run. Outran the bullets from the sheriff's gun. He ran through fire, ran through ice, ran across the water like Jesus Christ. He long gone, he long gone, like a turkey through the comb, with his long clothes on. He's long gone, he's long gone. Sheriff caught Riley, throwed him in jail, took away his money so he couldn't make bail. The townsfolk hollered when they found out that the jail tipped over and Riley walked out. He'd long gone, he'd long gone, like a turkey through the comb, with his long clothes on. He's long gone, he's long gone. Riley died when he got old. Let me tell you a story ain't never been told. 10,000 biscuits in each hand. He sopped his way to the promised land. He long gone. He long gone. Like a turkey through the comb. With his long clothes on. He's long gone. He's long gone. Hip, hop, hip, hop. Riley went to heaven with a bottle of gin. He banged on the gate, but he couldn't get in. St. Peter called out, "Is that Riley Brown? No more room. You got to go back down." He's long gone. He's long gone. Like a turkey through the comb. With his long clothes on. He's long gone. He's long gone. He's long gone. He's long gone. Long gone Riley Brown. Thank you very much for listening to me. At this time, I'm going to end the first set, and there'll be some more music coming up not too long from now. See you.
Well, that ends the performances for this Friday evening. We hope you will come back tomorrow at 8 o'clock for more great music, and then again on Sunday at 3 o'clock for more of the Berea College celebration of traditional music. Thanks for watching.